Hey, everybody. Welcome to SOS Small Business Podcast. I'm your host, Bonnie Bonadeo. We're all about building brands that survive while developing people that thrive. And the SOS brand itself is actually not just a podcast, but it's also a coaching and training organization as well. So if you're interested in finding a little bit more about some one-on-one coaching, group coaching, and or specific training, or marketing and branding needs, because we have an agency that is in a soft launch over over most of last year. That's still in a soft launch coming out this year. So you might need websites, you might need some digital tools to be able to help you. Feel free to reach out to me, and you can email me at bonnie@bonniebonadeo.com, or find me on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn and send me a message and let me know that you're interested here. Okay, yeah, so today, as you know, each and every week we talk about these 5 different strategies that are designed to be able to help you build your brand so you survive while developing people that thrive. Now, we could say that building your brand could be a very linear process, a very strategic process, a very do this, then do that, and then do this, and you will have some level of success from sales marketing approach, right? But the truth is that the reason why we don't always have the success that we want is because of ourselves, our own mindset. And today our topic is going to be mindset here, because what we want to do is we want to be able to say, we have to develop you to thrive. And if you're not thriving, we have to be able to look at what is stopping you from thriving at this point in time. What's not working for you, or what's holding you back, keeping you stuck, or, as we're going to talk about today, having you run abroad, because that's our topic for today. All right. So as you know, the design, the framework that we have around SOS is about strategic opportunities equal success. And so when building the brand, we can put some real easy strategic opportunities together to help you build your brand. But the success is also relevant to you developing yourself as a human. And the strategies that we apply to that to help you create this support system of success is under these 5 areas, these 5 pillars: sales, operation, mindset, marketing, and education. Because what we know to be true is that you have to be increasing your sales in order to increase your growth. You have to have operational systems set up and leadership in place in order to get to the next level. You have to be able to market your business in order to, get to that thriving point. And of course, sometimes you need to be educated, which also ties into our other M as mindset. And we're going to talk about mindset here quite a bit, because what we're going to talk about is running aground. Now, as you guys know, I do most of these podcasts, and the SOS kind of philosophy here is based on boating and sailing. And part of the reason why I did that was because I was just becoming a very avid boater and sailor, and then COVID hit. And so it kind of put me in a position to not be able to travel and not be able to do these things as much. Because we had a boat in the Caribbean, and trying to travel to the Caribbean was not an easy task. Islands were one of the first areas to shut down. So we had to kind of put all of that on hold. But in order for me to maintain my education, to maintain the language, the philosophy, the concepts, and the understanding of boating and sailing, I decided to apply it to the SOS programming content to be able to kind of keep me in that educational mindset and to keep learning. So today's title is Running Aground. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what that means in running aground here. So here we are, we're in January 2021, and we are still dealing with the majority of the same issues that we did for most of 2020. Okay, the COVID is still active. Vaccines are trying to get out. The political landscape is still unstable. All of these things are still relevant. Business is down. Being able to maintain a level of business, grow business, find supplies for our business, all of these things are still very challenging right now. But here's the thing. When we're talking about running aground, we may not be 100% responsible for the circumstances that have happened to us and our businesses, but we are still responsible for our businesses, for the growth, for the stagnation, for the, lack of sales, for the increase in sales. We're still responsible for all of that. And I want to be able to kind of assure you guys that we can't be blaming COVID anymore. Okay. We can't be blaming politics anymore for what's going on in our businesses. The truth is we're going to have to start being overly aggressive and incredibly assertive to be able to get a piece of that pie for our business. And again, you guys, here's the thing. Unfortunately, many businesses have gone out of business. So I think I saw something that it was like 98,000 businesses have gone under in 2020. And I'm sure I don't even know how accurate that is. I shared last week in a webinar that it was 9,000 salons in the UK that went out of business. And that's just the UK. So I can't even imagine what of that 98,000, how many of them are salons, because obviously salons were greatly impacted by this. So when we're talking about running aground from a conceptual standpoint, it's literally described as, it describes how a boat accidentally has gone ashore and it's stuck at the bottom of a lake or a body of water, or stuck partially to water and land, and it's damaged or can't be moved. And the truth is, I think that we've all run ashore to some degree. Having been shut down kind of was like a boat running aground, and not by choice. In some circumstances, this was not by choice, but staying ashore is a choice. And I know some of my clients that are just like, Bonnie, I'm just not going to do this anymore. I'm going to shut my doors. And I'm like, understandable. It's understandable if they don't have it in them to be able to go through the rebuilding process. But I know a lot of us lost our staff. We lost a certain amount of clients. We have clients that still haven't come back. There's a portion of business that has disappeared in our small business environment. And the truth is that we don't need to be staying ashore anymore. It's okay. We need to get back out in the water. So we have to be able to look at what's kind of keeping us still aground here, and how do we get back in a movement, a forward movement mindset here. So you could say that, yes, we were impacted by COVID, but your mindset is what might be keeping you ashore. I know one of the bigger conversations that I have with my clients each and every week is not, I try to get it to a strategic call. Okay. So, and a coaching mindset. But the truth is, the majority of the time that we spent is on mindset anymore. Okay. It's just where we're at, how we're feeling. What do we have it in us to rebuild, to regrow? Our level of frustration is being released. The feeling of betrayal. All of these emotions are coming up for my clients, and certainly for me too. I mean, I'm not at all immune to this. And part of it is this unknown, okay? This unknown, when is it going to end? When is it going to stop? When are things going to get better? And of course, when we have unknowns kind of surrounding us, we go into a fear mode. And that fear mode then keeps us in a very safe but stuck place. Time, we keep thinking, is next month going to be better? Is next week going to be better? Is tomorrow going to be better? And then we wake up and it's like freaking Groundhog Day, and we're just doing it over and over again. And then we kind of get into this space where it feels like we're in a rut, and it's pointless, and it feels a little hopeless. So I understand that there's a lot of that going on out there. Money is a big issue for everybody right now. I mean, listen, $600 check for those of you that got that, and maybe $1,400 coming down the pipeline. Great. I hope that helps. But this is small. This is pennies on the dollar of, I think, where our sales are down, where costs have gone up, where our businesses are a little bit out of balance right now. And we're trying to figure it out now. And I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of being able to look at every possible way that we can increase sales. I'm also a big fan of looking at every possible way you can decrease expenses. And when you have the two working hand in hand, you'll be surprised at what might be or was considered waste. Okay. Do I really need that? Is it critical to my business to still have that? There was a lot of elimination that I did this last year in regards to my business, to be able to kind of keep it as streamlined as possible and as lean as possible. And I'm helping, many salons and small businesses in that same mindset. Let's look at everything. I challenge salons to be able to, and small businesses to be able to say, you got to look at your monthly expenses. And then you have to be able to say, can you make a call to reduce what it's costing you right now? Can you make a phone call to reduce what it's costing you right now? And that's looking at every possible resource that you have, every resource that you have. How can you make this better? Okay. How can you make things more lean? How can you look at being able to increase your bottom line, but decrease your expenses as well? So I realized that this year is a 10-year anniversary for a couple things. One, my business as an entrepreneur, and not an easy journey by any means for me in the start, the middle, the 3/4 in to even today now. But I attended a class in 2011, and I had just started out as an entrepreneur, and a friend of mine wanted me to attend this class with her. And I was like, okay, I'll go. It was only like a 4-hour session, so it wasn't really that big of a deal to, as far as time, money, and investment for me. So I decided to go and hear it out and everything. And it was a class on emotional intelligence. And I sat there looking at the instructor that was leading the class, thinking that they were talking to me in every aspect of what they were sharing. And what my friend didn't know at the time was that I had a couple properties that I was in the process of short selling at the time. So that was the thing, during the recession back in 28, 29, 2010, and even through 2011 and 2012, we were still in very much a crisis with our economy. And it was in 2011 that I had just, I had set up my home to be able to be in a short sale. And that very week, my home was going to be sold, and I was going to be signing the papers, 3 days later. And what I found out while I was at this training course was that my house sold in an auction while I was in this course. And I didn't have any awareness of it. And I kind of didn't have my phone on because I was in the middle of a course. And when I got out of the course, I got the news that the bank declined the short sale. Thank you, Bank of America. I'll never do business with you again. That the bank had declined the short sale and had put my house up on an auction, unbeknownst to me here. I wasn't in this alone, you guys. I had hired a negotiator. I had hired a real estate person. I had hired the support people to be able to help me get through this process, because what I knew is I was not an expert in this process at all. And I was so grateful. I struggled, mind you now, I struggled to be grateful in this moment, but I was so grateful that I had just learned this information about emotional intelligence and the way that we're hardwired as human beings, because I was able to add a new perspective to this traumatic event that was happening to me, that I was now homeless. And my young son, who I think was 8 or 9 at the time, and going to a school in the neighborhood. Now I had to figure out where we were going to live, and it wasn't like I had a pocket full of money at this time, because we were in a recession. So a lot of my monthly expenses were going towards the house, were going towards my just my living and my business, and I didn't have a lot of extra cash on hand. I look at that and I think that was 10 years ago, you guys. It was 10 years ago that it happened to me. But the rawness of it and the pain of it is still very real. Now, I've been able to overcome it. I've been able to, work my way back financially, work my way back emotionally, work my way back spiritually, to be able to be stronger as a person and to have this help me, only to find out that in 2020, we have another kind of like big setback to be able to do that. But I feel that I'm way more equipped to be able to manage this setback because of the skills that I learned in this course. Now, that 4-hour course, of course, led me to being able to say, I need to get more training on this. I need to get a coach around this. I need to get certified. I need help. I need help. And, it was that or therapy. And, of course I did try therapy, but that didn't work. I needed help that was going to help my whole life, not just my past, not just my circumstances, not just the experiences that I've had up to this point in my life. I needed real help to be able to say, I don't have the right skill set to get me to the next level. And therapy was not going to provide me skill set. It might have provided me coping support, but not skill set. And I felt that emotional intelligence training was going to give me the skill set that I needed. So of course I hired the coach within that. That was the speaker, and worked with her for quite a few months to be able to kind of help me get back on track. And I can tell you that as painful as it was in losing my house, losing so much of what I was so proud of gaining at that point in my life as a single mom, as a woman in the world, I also was so grateful that I wasn't going to have it take me down. It wasn't going to take me down. So emotional intelligence is really about the brain science of how we're hardwired as humans. And how we're hardwired as humans is based on a lot of the animal instinct that we have and what makes us different from animals in regards to our brain. And it kind of is like the image that I think of is like having heart and having brain working together. So sometimes our brain can protect us. Sometimes our brain can be thought-provoking. Sometimes our brain can say, but strategically, this is how it works, and so we need to do it. But it doesn't always mean it's the right thing to do. And then you could look at it from the other angle and say, you could say that, I've had a broken heart before, so I'm not going to be as trustworthy to go into another relationship or buy another home or trust our government or trust our economy again. And all of those things kind of go hand in hand. But when you can work those two entities together of brain and heart, then you realize that it's a whole new set of skills, coping mechanisms, coping devices, the ability to really understand how we're hardwired in order to make an impact in what we say we want in our world. And it ties right into mindset here. So sensitivity training, empathy training, compassion training, being able to establish goal setting and the support that we need, creating that care society instead of the cancel society, having faith and hope be a foundation for what you want, seeing how consistency and focus can get you where you want to go. And all of that kind of falls under this emotional intelligence training. Now, after I worked with a coach for a few months, I also got involved in the training itself and decided I needed to be a coach on this. So I became an emotional intelligence speaker and coach within 18 months of taking this first little 4-hour class to be able to introduce me to it. It is the foundation of all the coaching and training and programming that I do under the umbrella of SOS. Okay, so it is the foundation of it. So that's why mindset is one of my favorite things to talk about. So I want to ask you this. Think about a time when you were let down, put down, or shut down. Okay. Let down, put down, or shut down. And I'm sure this is much easier for all of us today, especially after the year that we've all just had. So we might have been let down by, things not working as well. We might have been put down, by not being able to stay as strong as we thought we were under these circumstances. And certainly we were all in a position of being shut down, whether it was physically being shut down our business or shutting down what we worked so hard to achieve on this. Now, our brain has the ability to protect us. So anytime that we're let down, put down, or shut down, the brain has the ability to protect us. Here's the interesting part about the brain, though, is it's incapable of knowing whether it is real or perceived danger. So when we feel as though we're in danger, the brain kind of triggers this mechanism that says, danger, danger, you're in danger. And what it does is it releases a hormone, cortisol, into our body in order to protect us. And as you guys know, that what that hormone does is it puts us into fight, flight, freeze capacity. Okay. And I can honestly say that over the last year, many of us have probably been in our fight, flight, freeze mentality on and off and ongoing many times over the last year. And the thing is that if our brain only understands danger, whether it's real or perceived, it means that our thoughts can take us down a very dark path. It means that our inability to be able to rise up or to give ourselves that confirmation of internal and external support may not be as available to us, especially when we're rotating in and out of danger, ongoingly. So if it only knows danger, then what it's doing is it's taking danger based on your life experiences and how you reacted to certain situations, circumstances from the past. Okay. So for me, when COVID happened and businesses were being shut down, I panicked and I went into total panic mode, not because I feared getting COVID or that, my business was going to be devastated. What showed up was a fear from when we went through our recession. I'm going to lose my home. I'm going to lose my livelihood. I'm not going to be able to take care of myself or my family. That's what showed up. And that was all a perceived danger at that time. Now, yes, it could have converted into a real danger for me. But the truth is the fear showed up as a perceived danger for me. And then what that said is, I have to be able to manage this perceived danger. I have to manage it better than this. And these are the skill sets that I learned in the emotional intelligence programming. Okay. So when we have these dangers based on our life experiences in our past, what it does is it connects to our behaviors and personalities. So then we become kind of somewhat immune to these behaviors as, well, this is the way it's supposed to be. And this is why my personality is this. I'm a fighter. I am a fighter till the day is long. And part of it is because I've had circumstances that have happened to me where I felt the safest thing for me to do was, in order to get out of danger, was to fight. Okay. Was to fight. Okay. Not be the victim, but to be able to fight. So I can tell when that particular emotion shows up in me, and then I have to be able to do that self-evaluation of, what am I fighting right now? Is it a perceived or is it a real danger? Is it a perceived or is it a real danger? So let's look at how these circumstances in another example outside of our businesses can kind of like impact us in ways that we may not always be aware of. All right, so I want you to think, let's say that, so whether you're male, female, or the type of person that you would date. Let's say that you kind of fell head over heels for this blonde, and this blonde, guy or gal, whatever it is, you just were head over heels and you just thought, this is it. This is love. This is my destiny. Everything's working out great. And then all of a sudden it stopped being so great and it went really bad. Okay. So then what happens is that you created this perception that blondes are dangerous. Okay. And so then what shows up is that you meet somebody else and they're blonde and you're thinking, no, I'm not dating any more blondes. They're this or that. And you kind of label them. You put a label on them. Okay. That's how these circumstances create in our brain this perceived danger. Okay. It's not real. This person is not the same blonde as previously. So the chances of them being or doing the same exact thing are slim. However, you are set up as a human being with the capacity for your brain to be able to protect you in that particular way. Again, whether it's real or perceived danger. Okay. Let's take another example here real quick. So let's say that you bought a red car and you're driving down the road in the red car and you get rear-ended and you're thinking, oh gosh, it was a terrible circumstance, right? It's not related to anything else. But then, you get it fixed and a couple months later, you're driving down the road and you get rear-ended again, right? And you're thinking, okay, this car is cursed. Okay. So then what you do is you're back on the lot and you're buying another car. And what's something that you say? Just don't show me a red one, because red cars are dangerous. All right. So again, there's perceived danger attached to that. And now I want you to imagine all the circumstances and events that have happened in your life and how many different times your brain has created this database, this intel of what is perceived and what is real danger and how to be able to protect you. Okay. So here we are, 2021, January. Lots of dangers going on as of last year and still going on into this year. And we're feeling a little overly sensitive. Okay. So our ability to react keeps us safe, but our ability to react in particular ways also is not healthy and prevents us from being able to move forward. So sometimes, depending on how you react, might keep you stuck. All right. So if you're a fighter mentality like me, that fight, flight, freeze approach there, if you're the fighter, then what's going to happen is you're going to exert a lot of energy in areas that may not serve you as well. Okay. You might feel overly protective to staff issues, to client complaints, to clients endlessly talking about COVID or politics day in and day out. Especially, I know that for our beauty industry, my beauty industry clients, I mean, they got 8-10 clients a day and every conversation is pretty much the same in regards to that. And so if you're a fighter mentality, that can be very, very wearing on you. Okay. There's also then the flight response system. And the flight response system is kind of, just going a little bit in denial, not necessarily looking at it from a place of, oh, I got my rose-colored glasses on, but also not doing the due diligence that you might need in order to protect yourself in a way that is outside of perceived danger. Okay. So when we ignore things, they can start to pile up on us, and then we might convert into a fight mentality when the pressure gets too extreme, or it might convert into depression or illnesses or disease, because you're not allowing yourself to work through the experiences that you're feeling. Okay. And then of course there's the freeze mentality, and the freeze mentality is, probably, a version of the flight here, but probably a little bit more because they spend a lot of time processing. So they dive deep into things to process, but it doesn't necessarily help them to be able to overcome the stress that they're in. Okay. So when our body chooses when we choose one or all of these actions, one of these three actions, our body reacts to danger, and it keeps that cycle of fear and stagnation alive in us. And then what we have to do is we have to reach that next level of consciousness. So if you're a fight, if you're a flight, or if you're a freeze type mentality, and you will know that based on when something's not working in your life, what's the first instinctual reaction that you go to? Yes, of course, we're all three of them, but one of them is a dominant one. One is more dominant in our initial reaction. And then we might experience going into the second or the third one, but one of them is the dominant one. And when you can really target and understand that dominant behavior that shows up, either fight, flight, or freeze, you can immediately then try to manage it better. Okay. And managing it better is getting to that next level of consciousness. Okay. And it's not converting, it's not going from flight and going, oh, I guess I can't be in denial anymore, so I'm going to start fighting. Or if you're freeze, I'm not going to do any more research, I'm just going to ignore it. None of those things. That's just keeping you in that cycle over and over and over again. And we don't want to be able to do that. So you need to reset. You need kind of this fresh start and a little support to get the boat fixed and to get you back in the water and to get you in motion. Okay. And that's one of the biggest things that I can tell you is when you actually when your body goes into fight, flight, and freeze, and you release cortisol as a hormone to be able to say, I'm in danger. And that hormone goes to the biggest muscles of your body for you to be able to protect yourself. You have that hormone in your body from like 4 hours to half the day. Okay. And the most important thing that you want to do is you want to be able to flush that hormone out of your system. You don't want it to be there, because if you're in a hijacked mode from the get-go and the cortisol keeps maintaining itself throughout your body because you are still in that sense of I'm in danger, then cortisol is going to keep producing in your body until it feels you are not in danger. Okay. So you want to be able to kind of like move, stop what you're doing, flush your system with lots of water, go for a walk, create a stop action moment where just stop doing what you're doing. Step away. If it's a conflict or an argument, whatever, just say, I think we're going to have to just sidebar this right now and come back when maybe the emotions are not so high. But you've got to do something. You've got to do a pattern interrupt in order to stop the cortisol from continuing to go into your body, and allow yourself kind of that little bit of that peace of mind that then reinstates, that says you're okay. All right. So one of the ways to be able to do that is to ask yourself some questions. Okay. When the part of our brain that is emotional, the amygdala, is active, and that's when the hijack happens, and that's the part of the brain that says, release cortisol now, you're in danger, danger, danger. Okay. Then what you want to be able to do is you want to activate the other part of the brain, the neocortex. Okay. That is thought-provoking part of the brain. It's the analytical part of the brain. And to do that, you can ask yourself questions, and that will help kind of easily remove yourself out of high emotion and put yourself back into logic. So out of emotion into logic. That's the idea behind this. So here's some questions that you can ask yourself. So if your business is stuck, if you've kind of, if you've run aground here and you're stuck and you cannot get back in the water and get back in motion and get back to the things you need to be doing, you have to be able to kind of like do a quick summary here. What's your biggest concern? Is your biggest concern that you lost all your staff? Is the biggest concern that your clients don't feel safe coming in? Is the biggest concern that you've been shut down too long and you don't know how to rebuild again? Is the biggest concern that you just feel as though you don't have what it takes to be able to do it again? Or you were close to retirement and now all of a sudden you're like, do I really want to spend all this time building it up again? So what's your biggest concern? Narrow it down. It can be a really broad piece right now, but if you can narrow it down to something, then what that's going to do is it's going to help you go, oh, I've done it before, I can do it again. Or I know somebody that can help me with this. Or I think there's going to be clients that are going to feel safe coming in now. Or even though I may have lost some staff, I believe that there's other staff out there that's looking for a good opportunity today. Give yourself that moment to be able to convert your concern into a solution. All right. And how can you personally overcome this? Okay. So that's converting it into a solution. How do you personally overcome this? And there's probably 1,000 ways, but be realistic. Okay. This is the part here where logic is at play and you want to be realistic. So if something is broken that needs fixing, what is it? What's broken? What needs to be fixed? And then you have to decide, can you fix it, or do you need a specialist to help you fix it? So here's an example. You lost all your staff. So what's broken is that you don't have staff, but you have clients. Okay. Do you need a specialist to help you fix it? Well, yeah, you might need somebody that can help you to market yourself better, or you might need a specialist like Indeed.com to be able to run ads. All right. And, so those are like easy solutions for you. And then you have to be able to ask yourself here, is it emotional? Is it physical? Is it financial? Is it spiritual? Is it educational? Okay. Is the pain that you're going through emotional, and you have the ability to get the support that you need. All right. So in my case, where I'm a business coach, I actually don't promote myself as a business coach, you guys. And the truth is, I'm a life coach, because I don't believe that there's any business problems. I believe that they are personal problems that then get applied to our business. So if it's emotional, then you want to be able to work with a coach or work with somebody or a mentor or even a therapist to be able to help you get emotionally stable or stronger. Okay. If it's physical, there's this physical inability, your physical space, you don't have space anymore, physical ailments of your body of having to do something, then you got to be able to look at who's the specialist that can help me there. If it's financial, spend some time with a bookkeeper, spend some time with a CPA, spend some time with an accountant, spend some time with a coach that focuses in on financials and profits to be able to help you. Is it spiritual? Look for ways to be able to support yourself. Is it, for me, it's meditation, it's audiobooks. I love listening to fiction audiobooks because they're escapisms for me. I like music. Little weekend getaways, being able to do things with my family when I have the chance to be able to see them. These are spiritual, opportunities that I can bank for myself. Okay. And then of course, the final one is educational. I'm pretty sure right now, because so much of what's happened in 2020 is new to us. Okay. That there's a lot of things that we're thinking. I've been running on just the fact that my business was kind of somewhat established. And now all of a sudden I have to start all over again. And I don't know all the ins and outs of it. And because we are in a very digital world today, that might be something that you need to get better educated on, how to be more digitally savvy to get your business up and running again to the next level through the rebuilding process. Okay. Educating yourself on writing better copy to get people to hire people, because you can't, I mean, I see the terrible posts and ads that people put out there, and I can see why they're struggling to be able to find new people. So maybe you need help in these areas. All of these areas have specialists out there that can help you. And certainly I can, if I'm not the ideal person for you guys, I'll refer you to somebody. So you can still reach out to me if any one of these areas kind of like poked at you enough to say, I really need to do something. I need to do something today. Reach out to me. We'll have a quick conversation. We'll determine whether I can help you or whether I can refer you to somebody else that I know that might be a better fit for you based on what you're challenged with and what you're going through. Okay. So empathy, compassion. These are the key words I want us to all have going into 2021. We need to be 2021 thought leaders. And in order to do that, we have to be more emphatic and we have to be more compassionate towards situations happening right now. Okay. And it's not to say, allow people to bully you, or it's not to say, give up on what you believe to be true or right or anything. None of that. Empathy is just being able to accept that other people might have different opinions. Empathy is being able to say that if I have, 10 clients coming in today to see me, 10 of them are probably going to all talk about their stories connected with COVID. And I have to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to give them a little bit of that space, but then I'm going to be quick to change the topic. I'm going to be quick to create different conversations that also support me, because I can't listen to this 10 times a day type of thing. Okay. You are the captain of your ship, and you have to be able to say, I don't want my ship to be, aground anymore. I got to get it back in motion. I have to be able to figure out what it's going to take in order to, have myself thrive and have my brand survive. And of course, that's what we're all about here at the SOS Small Business Coaching. So here's 3 areas I want you guys to look at. Okay. A, new clients. Do you need new clients to increase sales, or do you need new stylists to support client demand? Okay. Easy. It's one or the other. It potentially could be both, but I'm going to caution you to take the activity of both of those strategies on. Okay. Do you need new clients? If you need new clients, then you need to do a new client campaign. If you need new stylists, then you need to do a new stylist campaign, hiring campaign. Okay. So I call this the ACT method. And it's, it's brand. So it's awareness of your brand. It's client acquisition, and it's stylist recruitment, or, talent recruitment. These are the three things that we focus on in the SOS strategy to be able to get you to the next level. It's simplified, you guys. It's simplified. Don't make it more complicated than it needs to be. Okay, so B, sell more to existing clients through upgrades, retail, and add-on services. Do you have the ability to sell more to existing clients? It might mean changing up what you're offering them right now, adding on more things, talking about retail a little bit more. Look for additional revenue opportunities that you can take on in your business right now. I'm telling you, restaurants do this really well. So we were at a Mexican restaurant the other day, and typically in a Mexican restaurant, chips and salsa come complimentary to the table. Well, the little gal, the hostess that sat us down, she brought us to our table, and then she said, "Oh, you have to try the chips and salsa. They're fabulous, and they're only $3." So she made it clear right off the bat that chips and salsa were not going to be coming complimentary. And of course, it made us want to say, "Oh, okay, well, we're definitely going to do it." Okay. And it was really good salsa. So, and I'm thinking what we could have better conversations from our front desk to each and every one, to our hostess stands, whatever type of business you are as a small business. All of these areas, we can have better conversation with our clients to be able to provide more opportunities for them to have a greater experience, or to have fix problems that they're having with solutions that we can offer. And then third here, or C, get new support, get a coach or a mentor, develop systems for confidence and consistency. If you don't think you could do this alone, then find somebody to help you do it. I promise you, the investment and the time and the money and your energy will be worth it to feel as though you've got somebody working with you to get you through this than to go through it alone. All right. And, I have so many of my clients that are just like, "Oh, I don't know that I can afford that." And I'm thinking, you cannot not afford this. Okay. If you don't know, if 5 things that I just shared with you that we would be doing together in the time that we spend together, and you don't know how to do any one of those 5, or maybe you know how to do 1 out of the 5 or 2 out of the 5, it will be worth it for you to have an understanding of these 5 key areas that you'll want to get your business savvy on. Okay. And that's just the start. There's so much more available to it when you have a partnership with a coach to be able to help you do things, or a mentor even. Okay. So doesn't even have to be a paid person if you can find a great mentor as well. Now, we judge others. I talked about this last week as well, but I flipped it up a little bit. We judge others by their actions, and we judge ourselves by our intentions. Okay. So you might be upset that you lost staff. You might be upset that COVID happened, or you might be upset that your business is down. Okay. And so you might be judging situations based on these actions that we're dealing with now. But when we judge ourselves by our intentions, we kind of give ourselves a little bit of that compassionate, emphatic break of, I can do better. I know I can. Things are going to get better. And so what if we truly acted upon our intentions? What if we asked for help? What if we paid for help? What if we took the road that has a greater guarantee of success instead of suffering? Okay. This is that pattern interrupt that most of us need as small businesses right now. And listen, I have a coach. Okay. So I go through, every year I spend a certain amount of time with a coach, if not longer than that. But I have a coach because I have to be able to up-level myself too, in order for my clients to get the best of what I can offer and the best support that I can offer for them. So ask for help, pay for help, and take the road that has a greater guarantee of success instead of suffering. All right. Okay, guys. So that ties back into the SOS strategy. Remember, it's about strategic opportunity for success. If you plan it, it can happen. If you build it, they will come. All right. But you got to plan it out, and you got to make it happen. So, all right. So, guys, I look forward to having you join me next week. as well on the SOS podcast. But in the meantime, you guys, we only have a few days left before I start my programs, Thrive Over Survive. It's a 12-week program, and I'm going to teach you how to be able to put the ACT method into play. So again, it's awareness for your brand, it's client acquisition, getting new clients, or it's talent recruitment, getting new staff. One of those three or all of those three might be an action or a strategy that you need to apply. And I'm going to teach you how to do this. And in this 12-week course, it is 6 weeks of content training, okay, and 6 weeks of open coaching sessions. All right. And it happens every other week. So we're going to teach you a concept to be able to apply. The next week, I'm going to just be in an open coaching mode to be able to help you write it better, help you source where you need to push it out from, help you design the post that needs to go with it or the copy that needs to go with it. Okay. So strategic content, open coaching session every other week. So this happens over the course of 12 weeks. I promise you, you're going to get the results in the end that you need. In some cases, there's going to be some people that are going to be pretty savvy about it, and they're going to be able to be doing all 3 acts at the same time. The truth is we're going to start out with 1 act, and we're going to have time to be able to get through 2 or 3 acts over the course of the 12 weeks. So I look forward to having you guys be a part of the program. So if you're interested in that, go to sosthrive.com, sosthrive.com. Or, reach out to me, DM me and ask me questions and find out more about it here. But the landing page at SOS Thrive has a lot of information there for you. All right. Thanks for joining me today, you guys, at the SOS Small Business Coaching and Podcast, where we're all about building brands that survive while developing you to thrive. Okay. See you next week.